Hello again, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. Yugoslavia and Finland are finally here, friends and fans. So if you want this nation pack, the Reds Nation pack, make sure you check it out on Steam. Folks, I'm going to show you a little bit of a battle between the Yugoslavian armor deck that I've created here, and I've also given it to 3 other computers versus 4 other computers of allied forces. So we're about to square off against the allies here. It's very nice. I get to play in very slow, so we get to see all these units close up while I'm focusing on the battle and also showing off how gorgeous some of these tanks here. Here we see the beautiful M91 Vihor, and for those of you who are Yugoslavian or from other nations in that parts of the world, go ahead and say hello. I saw a lot of you commenting on the previous deck review video of all the different types of vehicles for Yugoslavia, so let's see this wonderful, beautiful, and fantastic parade of armor. Look at that. We've made ourselves an armor deck here for Yugoslavia, so you'll be seeing a lot more tanks rather than troops, but we do have troops as well. We've got BVN 80 M80As, and those are wonderful transports for the Yugoslavians. So if you haven't already, immediately eliminate, blow up, destroy, and annihilate that like button. Thank you very much for showing your support to Wargame Red Dragon. Hopefully when they see these videos, they see how much people love them and put in more nations. So I want to know from you down below in the comments section. Basically, we've got ourselves the Netherlands, Israel, Yugoslavia, and Finland have all been added. What do you want to see next, folks? All right, looks like the AI here is going to be capturing the sector. That is the most amount of communication I've ever seen in Wargame Red Dragon. Most players are usually using voice commands, or rather voice things such as our TeamSpeak server, so you guys can join that if you want. Go ahead and check down below in the description, of course. All right, so we've got ourselves some ATGM soldiers, some very heavy tanks here. We're going to be squaring off against the Americans and NATOs here, who are threatening the dense jungles of Yugoslavia, I guess. Of course, we're in the Pacific Theater, with it being Red Dragon, but we're going to pretend like this is Yugoslavia somewhere in the 90s. So again, this game does simulate the Cold War, an alternative reality where Finland went more towards the Warsaw Pact and is totally backing them, and Yugoslavia, of course, a part of the action now. All right, we got ourselves a chaparral up here. We have anti-aircraft units as well with us here. The Sava here, which is a fantastic anti-aircraft missile launcher. So if the Allies happen to bring out any of their pesky aircraft, we'll definitely be dealing with it. And speaking of dealing with it, the Vihor immediately eliminating some enemy armor right there. Check that out, a chaparral trying to do some deep recon, looking out for aircraft. It looks like the Americans are here too. M113A1s are sitting by the intersection here. Looks like they might be on patrol as well. So let's go ahead and get our tanks set up. We're going to set up a defensive line here. Oh, wait a minute, we got an enemy command. Oh, beautiful shot from that Vihor. Nice, good work. Is that how you say that? I don't know. I'm going to butcher all the names, but also we're going to butcher the enemies, so don't you worry, friends. Let's go ahead and get some of our recon up here so we can see what we're doing. And it's good. I usually play in normal mode, and I'm so flustered and have so much to say that I actually don't get to play. So here we're going to play in slow motion a little bit, as you get to see all the cool explosions and everything as it works in well, almost real time. Just a little bit slower, but you can see how wonderful these tanks are. We're going to build up soon. We got to capture positions on the map, of course. That's the name of the game, a war game, and we're trying to get enough points so that way we can kick the enemy out of the sector. We need to work up to 8,000 points. We're already up to 155 points worth of destroyed enemy vehicles, so it shouldn't be too long until we've eliminated most of the enemy force. Of course, those pesky Americans, they are not going to last long against our glorious and super powerful Yugoslavian army. All right, looks like the computer's launching another beacon. Looks like they're going to go up there and defend. And we're going to try to push into Fedor here. Looks like we're blowing up enemy infantry. The Germans could be here, French. We could see American tanks. We got ourselves the BVP M80A loaded with the drug ATGM, and I'm going to go ahead and unload our troops right now so we don't get hit by an ATGM ourselves. And this vehicle here is hauling troops that have an ATGM. Not only does this vehicle have the Malayuka on top of it, of course this is almost like a BMP, if you will, in some sort. It does have a 20mm autocannon on top of it, but also let's go ahead and, if we haven't already, unloaded those troops, and it could take a second or two. Whoa, wait a minute, enemy artillery coming in trying to blast our positions, and it looks like, oh, wait a minute, the enemy's main force has arrived. Ladies and gentlemen, the American army is here with their heavy tanks. All right, we'll see how our ATGM soldiers do against it. Looks like friendlies brought up M80As as well. You see ATGMs just lighting up and flying across the field. Boys, we got M1 Abrams here, so we better be very cautious about the enemy. They've got some pretty good tanks here, so let's see how our tanks stand the test of time. Our PORS drug is now, oh boy, our transport got destroyed, but at least the drug is firing, and the Vihor is trying to kick some ass here. Look at that, man, immediately destroying those U.S. Marine transports as well. Marines possibly coming across the bridge. Let's take a look at those Abrams here as they get hit by ATGMs and heavy shells from those Yugoslavian tanks. Oh, wonderful. Wow, you can actually see the American tanks getting hit so hard that they're actually rocking back and forth and immediately getting blown away by those heavy tanks. All of our comrades with us in the M84s, more Yugoslavian tanks, M84As here as well. Again, remember, subject to change for all points, all values, all statistics, so make sure when you're making your Yugoslavian deck that you check all those stats in the deck creation menu. Oh, wow, just slicing through all of those American troops right there. The American Army didn't even get a chance to unload. One of our tanks down as well, but we're hurting them way more than they're hurting us. We've lost a couple of transports, but the Americans are sending out another group of tanks. Very soon we should be able to call out some more ground support aircraft, including the Oraro, which a lot of you told me means eagle in Yugoslavian. So go ahead and let me know, of course, what some of these names mean, and of course their pronunciations as well. I am really happy, truly happy to have you all here watching, so thank you very much for tuning in. We've got our anti-aircraft battery set up over here, and we've got supply vehicles supplying our defensive line too. If our vehicles become damaged or if they need ammunition or fuel, they got it right away, and they're getting it now, the Americans. Wow, they're really getting hit hard. The Americans are bringing up a ton of armor, a huge armor push here. They think they can break through our glorious armor, but not today. We're almost firing so fast that we're almost running out of shells, but luckily we've got good supply. Unfortunately, our drug forces here being, I guess, they joined the DARE program because they're no more. All right, we've got ourselves, look at this, some of these autocannons firing from the flank, supporting some of that infantry that's, or rather the tanks that's fighting the infantry as well, though a very bad idea to bring an M84 to a rifleman fight. The riflemen will win with their law launcher, 66 millimeters of heat rounds. They'll be one and doneing that tank very shortly as it's got just a little bit of armor left, and we're losing some transports as well. But I'm holding firm in a defensive position. Let's bring things up in terms of speed, folks. We've got to get up to 8,000 points, and we're almost up to about 2,000. Wow, the battle almost over. America sacrificing all of its tanks, trying to really push through here. I think they may have underestimated the Yugoslavian forces. Even a T-55K command moving in. Ooh, and getting hit by the Americans. Oh, that's really a shame. Looks like Martyr 1A3s did the job there. The Germans, actually, with the Milan F2s. Ooh, boy, Dmitry not looking so good. What's going on over there? Enemy, friendly commander not doing his job. We're going to try to push in here very soon with our command. Oh, looks like friendlies are pushing up too, and we got a lot of artillery coming in. Okay. Could be light mortars or something like that, so we're going to just stay put for the time being until it's over. Let's send our supply vehicle back. Nobody brought a fob, not even me, so we're just going to get this out of here so it doesn't get destroyed and give the enemy points. In the meantime, we're going to bring up our armor too and wait for some of our troops to be on panic so that way they can move up. Let's bring some more supplies up, and let's go ahead and grab ourselves an aircraft if we can. At 80 points, we've got our Eagle online, and the Japanese now on the field. Wow, we're fighting the Japanese too, the Nanayanshiki A. I believe that's a number. Oh, wait a minute. Challenger 1 Mark III. Ooh, that's going to be a... oh, boy. All right, let's try to get that sumbitch. All right, let's bring out our aircraft here. Looks like they got a Kiowa out there. That is not a good one, too, by the way, for us. That is armed with Hellfires, and that will shred our tanks with ease. We got to get a command recon up there or something. We got to make sure we're able to see that British aircraft or tank with... so that way we can hit it with our aircraft, although the enemy does have Mistral infrared missiles over here. The infrared missile times 8 times 3 vehicles. That is going to be an absolute nightmare for our aircraft, but we got to try to hit a big point, big tank like that. The points don't matter. It's almost like when you're, like whose line is it anyway? Uh-oh. Look at this, an enemy command here. We might be able to hit that in the flank, though it's really well defended by those Mistrals right there. So let's pull our heavy tank off the line, and let's go start flanking left instead of going into that death nightmare right there, which is a great metal band name. Oh boy, look at that. Panzer Grenadiers are right here. They're Germans with Panzer Foss 44. I think that's what that is. Not sure, but we got good recon out here now. All right, our big tank is here finally. Let's see if we can start taking out that Command Abrams with the M91. Let's go ahead and go down to slow speed here. Let's just go down to very slow and watch this tank move in. So check out this tank, man. 28 shells, 125 millimeters, just tons of armor on it, and it's just not something you want to get near. So let's go ahead and try to hit that Mistral there. Where did our recon go? Looks like our recon's trying to fire at him, and our allies are desperately telling us that they're defending that position with some of the... Ooh, looks like a lot of the Yugoslavian ground forces, troops are moving into positions along the hedge line there, seeing what they can hit. We've got a lot of our tanks here now. We're going to not prioritize enemy cargo vehicles, but those Mistrals, and our aircraft is breaking off as it ran out of fuel. Not bad, though. We didn't lose the aircraft, so we're just going to assist with our tank 11 here. We're going to try to supply them with a little bit more fuel. This is great. I like playing in slow motion. You get to see all the shells flying. There's so much going on in Wargame Red Dragon that you do not always get to see every beautiful kill and stuff. Usually when I play with my friends Bolt Sauce and Nolan and everyone else who owns it, and Bacon, and of course the wonderful Rocker, and Pixel too, usually there's so much going on, and there's so much communication, you don't get to see lovely explosions like this. Yugoslavian armor, mechanized forces here being wrecked, and looks like somebody's smoking out. Looks like we got some dank Kush rounds. Somebody fired some, looks like perhaps the Yugoslavians were trying to drop off infantry there. There's our Challenger Mark. Oh, there we go. All right, let's try to hit that thing. Looks like there might be no air cover here, so let's keep an eye on that giant column of tanks. And by that I mean the 2 Challenger 1 Mark IIIs are worth 145 points each and would be a devastating blow to British forces here in the battlefield. Let's go ahead and see if we can stop. Oh, we are stopped. Oh, I thought they were slightly moving. Okay. So our infantry is trying to move in on the tanks. The tanks, of course, can kill them, but it is much harder to kill infantry than it is to kill tanks. They're very resilient, and you can see they're also firing at some of our tanks here. So let's just pull back a bit with our tanks. Let's peek on them with the recon, and let's go in for this wonderful kill with the NJ-22 Eagle. So check this thing out, baby. That thing, that Yugoslavian plane, loaded up with 6 450 kilogram cluster munitions. That thing is going to be able to hit enemy tanks. Let's go ahead and see what happens here. I'm just trying to take a look at the battlefield here. Looks like we lost a FAP-26A. Oh no. Hold on a second. All right, here come the clusters. He dropped. Okay. Here comes the cluster munitions on British forces. Will they hit, baby? Oh, that is a wonderful spread. Anything there is dead. I think we may have killed that. Yes, indeed, we did. A beautiful kill on that British tank. Look at the area of coverage. This is perfect for eliminating enemy convoys. If we would have called that out earlier with all... Look at the American tanks. That is an absolute graveyard. We could have killed all of those tanks with just one beautiful, just wonderfully placed cluster bomb. That's amazing. All right, let's go ahead and see if we can move up with our forces. Looks like our friendlies here have captured some of the positions, so let's bring up some more troops now. We're going to now bring up our own forces here. We've got, again, I'm going to butcher these. We got our presidents, drugs, silos, and such. Wow, the Yugoslavian forces and Czechoslovakian and Polish forces have extremely unique infantry, and of course Yugoslavia is no exception there. That's why they added it in, because they've just got a lot of real unique stuff here. All right, riflemen times 30 are moving in. Let's bring it back up to full speed here, folks. Oh, wait a minute, we got enemy aircraft. Aardvark, oh, that is not good. Aardvark is loaded with 340 kilogram bombs times 12. She's going to be dropping and popping here very soon. Looks like... Oh, did she get hit? Is she down? She's down, but she's also trying to take down any infantry and transports there. That was a huge hit. Luckily, there was nothing there, though. Good bomb drops on a potentially very devastating attack route for the enemy, but they really didn't use it that much. We've got most of our forces intact. The only thing we really lost here was supply trucks, 15 points. Not too much to fret about. Let's go ahead and move up our anti-aircraft wing then and support our allies as they move up. So for our anti-aircraft, we've got... these little troop transports here that we had seen before, the M80A, but this one's loaded with the M86 anti-aircraft gun on it, so that's very good against helicopters, and so is our wonderfully... Oh, man, this is basically their version of the Strela that the Yugoslavians call the M90 Sava, so very nice. All right, SMA troops, Marines, anti-tank forces are fighting against the mechanized Pezes there. And Kiowa is firing off on those M84s with its Hellfire. It's very panicked, so it might not be able to land a direct hit. But we're bringing in a command unit here to capture this sector and teach the Americans a lesson and those allied forces. We've got, of course, our very cheap but very lovely, and check it out, it's even got an M2 Browning on top of it. This is our troop transport, the OTM-60P. So we're going to just move into the village here and drop some of those troops off. And I believe we called up some infantry, too, to help defend those. So 3 squads of infantry there that are going to defend that. Let's move up then with our recon. And we're trying to push that Kiowa back so our tank forces can move up a little bit better, breathe a little easier. And it looks like we pushed those helicopters back, so we better get back to the tree line. Let's set up another defensive line and see if we can intimidate the enemy into attacking again. Our tanks have mostly been repaired and mostly been brought back up to fighting speed. They've got most of their ammunition, most of their armor, but there's a battle going on, so we don't have time to waste. All right, Yugoslavian forces have just captured Fedor, and it looks like we are all but clear of Dmitry. Just a small section up here of resistance, and it looks like Anna's been pushed. Ooh, we pushed the Americans and all NATO forces back to Boris. Yugoslavia is holding the line, man. Very good. All right, let's continue to brunt the enemy's attack. Artillery coming in on recon, very viable tactic. Cargo trucks rolling up, another Puma there. Let's get another recon vehicle out. And these are very nice, too. The M80A1s come with some weapons of their own. We did cover it before with the... Oh, this has a 30mm on it, and the Malyuka as well. So very nice anti-tank weapon, and anti-infantry, too. Or transport. We've got an VTP-7A1 here, a marine transport vehicle armed with grenade launchers. We're trying to keep our troops away from that. In fact, let's try to get away from the fire here. We'll scoot a little bit. And let's get our Savas. Don't want everything in the same bush. Obviously, one cluster bomb or one artillery strike, and goodbye to everything. Let's keep one of our 30mm nearby, just in case, though. Rangers, American Ranger forces are moving up. Let's see if we can hit them with our 30mm. Open up on them, boys. Rangers are tough, but they're no match against 30mm. Nice. And we've got a Puma moving in on the flank. Oh, damn, they got our... Well, they didn't hit it, but they've definitely stunned our anti-aircraft here. So they know we've got some defenses set up. Our infantry should be arriving shortly to take up defensive positions. Oh, there they are. Yes, they're in the forest now, the tree line. Very good. All right, we're running at normal speed here. Everything's going great. We've got the Panzer Grenadiers there. Let's go ahead and support them. Oh, wait a minute. All right. Oh, no, our recon went down from a nicely placed aircraft there. Nice helicopter flank from the Kiowa. Let's go ahead. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Oh, they were trying to flank, and we had Cubs there as well. Cubs, very good. High-altitude anti-aircraft. Not so good against helicopters. Let's go ahead and bring more anti-aircraft up. Let's bring a more recon. Can't have enough of that. We'll keep an eye on where the enemy's placing troops. Let's unload our infantry. Set up defensive positions. And let's get our troop transports out for the time being, as artillery is incoming. And small troops are moving up. Alright, let's get out of here. Let's get to the tree line. Double time into the tree line, boys. Sava are going to come up and try to save our ass against those Kiowas that have been pestering us. These are great recon. They've got the M1 347.62. Well, they did until it was exploded by Yugoslavian forces there. Wow, they're kicking ass. Check that out, 83mm. And also, it looks like they've got an MP40 type variant. A lot of post-World War II weapons that they've got. Oh, and a lot of artillery coming in on some of our heavier tanks. Not the best thing against tanks, but definitely can get the tanks to panic. We've still got our Big Daddy here, 170 points, man. That thing has been chewing them up. I don't know if you can see how many kills they've gotten so far. I think you have to wait until after the battle. It'd be nice to know in battle. I actually don't know off the top of my head. All right, let's go ahead and make sure we've got more supplies coming in. We'll continue to use our FAPs. Oh yeah, we'll be fapping all night, guys. We've got a lot of troops to resupply, and a lot of damaged vehicles too from all that artillery. They keep pounding us, and they're desperate. We call this Despo, Artie, because the enemy is now trying to prioritize light vehicles and anti-aircraft soft targets, as you would. It's annoying as hell when you're the defender, but or if you're on the offensive. All right, let's go ahead and back up here. All right, nice thing we can use against all this advancing armor. Let's get a Polo out. A couple of these. These are ATGM transports, and let's grab ourselves some more drugs, and we're going to get those into the beautifully placed village here, which should devastate enemy forces. We need another bomber, guys. What do you think about another bomber? Let's see what we got here. We've got both high explosive and cluster munitions, but there's a lot of cluster of enemy vehicles moving through, so let's get two of these bad boys to drop, and let's see what happens. So we'll drop one just in the tree line to eliminate any vehicles that may be there. Even if we don't see them, we can now just tell the pilots to drop on targets whether or not they see them or not. So they're going to now position their planes to drop in two locations. That is a beautiful plane. There comes some infantry across the bridge. Let's take a look at this plane. Beautiful plane, man. Really nicely done. The folks over at Wargame, again, a nice Circle 7 to them and everything. They're doing great. Really love to see these new nation packs. And I'm happy to have the opportunity to explain. Oh, but those Oros taken out immediately by Allied anti-aircraft guns. Oh, no. But, hey, look at that. We've destroyed quite a bit down there. Looks like 2 areas of tanks just wrecked. And that gives us a little bit of breathing room to set up defenses. That Kiowa is looking for us. Unfortunately, we don't have SEAD. SEAD aircraft, of course, fire a missile that is radar-guided, meaning enemy anti-aircraft vehicles send out a radar signal, and our plane can pick up on that, and basically it leads our own missile right into their own radar. So it's very interesting, very unique. What haven't we seen here? I'm just trying to display everything we've got. We do have support vehicles. We do have the ability to call out Foka artillery. So let's go ahead and call a couple of artillery pieces up now. Maybe we'll start targeting some enemy positions. They're continuing to fight with Panzer Grenadiers here, and a Polo went up there. That's not a good position for this. This thing is basically an ATGM, anti-tank weapon that's just rolling around there on top of that same M88 frame that we've been seeing. All right, our presidents are in position. Very good. Let's see here. We've got our vehicles are pretty much out of supply, and we've got a huge parade of forces coming in. I don't know why we're calling in infantry that are not in the transports. What? Is that a glitch of some sort? Apparently the friendly AI has either deployed all their infantry on foot. I don't know what the purpose of that is, but alright, I guess it's all part of the glorious plan. We're going to continue to reinforce our there we go. We're gonna try to get our infantry up and fighting again as they continue to get artillery. It looks like we've got recon infantry coming up as well. That would be a good call for us to call up a few of these as well. We'll go on the right flank and start flanking around and seeing what the enemy's got. We'll try to hit it with artillery and keep them at bay. We've got the advantage here as we pretty much got the Allied forces up against the wall, and hopefully we're going to fight them for a retreat. 35-point Japanese tanks coming up now. These are the Nanayanshikis. And looks like quite a few of them might be moving in here. And boy, that's not good for them. Looks like Panzer Grenadiers and a combat engineering vehicle. Look at that. Basically it's an M60 with a 165mm gun. It's a giant howitzer. Can devastate defensive positions and villages. Just really clobber the enemy. All right, let's go ahead and check over here. German Jaegers coming up. All right, let's go ahead and get in a blocking position for them. Make sure they can't get in. And beautiful 2 T-55 recon vehicles just sitting right there, immediately wiping that squad from existence. We got to stay on the move. Enemy will target our recon. Recon's a very, recon usually ends up dying, or at least most of mine, so make sure you always keep it on the move. You kind of want it to always be on the front line, but it's a fine line between being on the front line and, being spotted, so you always got to pay attention. All right, we've got our ATGM units here, our Polos and our BP-80As, M80As are moving in now with the ATGMs. So we should be able to completely lock down this village and make sure the enemy doesn't push through, whether they fire Jaegers at us or artillery. That artillery is actually getting annoying. Let's go ahead and find out, see if we can zero in on that artillery. We can actually call out a bomber if the... wait a minute. Okay, let's find out where artillery is spotted. I'm going to mark that. Oh, there we go. Look at this. All right, let's call in another bombing run here. Let's call in 2 of these aircraft now. Looks like they've got themselves those mortar carrier... well, it's basically troop carriers that have been converted into mortars. So let's go ahead and hit those. Those are really starting to become a big pain in the ass. So we're going to try to double our chances of breaking through enemy anti-aircraft and hit those. They only have limited amounts of artillery, so if we do happen to hit those, it'll be a big benefit to our forces that keep getting pounded by that artillery. All right, we've dropped off our ATGM troops. They'll stick together. FAPs are out of ammunition again. We've got a lot of supplies that are needed up here on the front line, so we'd better supply our troops again. More ammunition and such coming up to the front line. It's good news. M84As have been taking a big beating from enemy artillery and mortars and such. Fuel leak on one of those Oros. That's why we're dropping 2, baby. Let's see if we can break through. If we see numbers fly up, we know we're in good times. Oh, yeah. Nice. And that brought us up to 90% of the points needed to win there. They only destroyed one of our aircraft, so a necessary evil sometimes to drop bombs. But it is worth it if the enemy's artillery comes to an end. German flak panzer right there. Gepard A1. I did drive one of those in Germany and crushed a car with it. Those things are powerful, man. But we must crush with our own tanks. Let's bring up our tank army now. We are ready to fight. Let's bring up Big Daddy here, the 170-point monstrosity, the Vihor. Going to go ahead and bring that up with anti-aircraft coverage. And let's bring up our recon unit, too, to spot targets. And a couple of our troop transports as well. Again, these are armed with the 20mm, so we should be able to decimate any enemy infantry or light vehicles. Oh, another Gepard going down. Rangers coming in. Well, they're going to have to fight against the Grenadiers. They're pretty scary. They've got 83mm anti-tank. Also, they've got a variant of what looks to be the AK-47, the M70B1, which is really going to do damage if they're in a defensive position. But I think the Americans here are going to retreat as well as the Allied forces. We got a whole parade of communism coming in on foot. I don't know what it... Oh, I guess Command has already set up the parade, so it's almost like Macy's Thanksgiving Day parade, though it's Liberation Day here for this side of Yugoslavia, as we're pretending we're in, who knows, it's just some river in the middle of former Yugoslavia. So let's go ahead and get some of our forces into defensive positions. That's our ally up there, but I didn't get to push through the villages I'd wanted. The friendlies were too quick against the enemy, but good. Let's quickly move fast on the roads and see if we can cut anything down. Again, our big, beautiful tank there. doing a great job of cutting down enemy forces, and we might have a 2-1 victory here today. So we see the American command post there. Leopard 2's right there. Oh, man, let's go ahead and see if we can hit them with everything we've got. Let's go ahead and call in some light bombers on those positions. Those are going to those are armed with high explosive rather than cluster munitions, so probably not going to destroy anything, but we can let the enemy know we know they're there, and if we hit them, we'll come out of the village at the same time. And let's go ahead and get our anti-aircraft up here, but we'll try to storm out of this position and try to find them and eliminate their tanks as they're panicked and still recovering from being hit by a heavy blast. Let's go ahead and move the rest of our tanks up here. Even if they're damaged, our comrades have got to come up here. We've got Maliukas standing by. There we see where the German tanks are. Okay, here comes our bombers. Beautiful. Here comes the bombs. Get those Germans. Beautiful. Everything has been damaged. Chinooks are down. Vihor's moving in. All right, Leopard 2 here. Let's go ahead and fight off against the German tanks. Who's more superior? Oh, let's go get them Germans, boy. Let's get that recon up here. They've engaged Rami Cloak. All right, let's make sure we've got our recon standing by. Let's make sure we got our ATGMs ready to rock. All right, we're going to fight these guys now. Here comes the recon. We've spotted them. There we go. Hit those Abrams. Hit those wonderful Leo 2s. Let's get the rest of our tanks and ATGMs up here. Yep, go ahead. Target the light stuff. That's fine with me. M84As are ready to rock. We'll proceed on the main road. And there we go, folks. A victory against enemy forces here today. An absolute giant and huge success, folks, I would say, to see this DLC. If you can't get enough of it, make sure you check out more on my good friends' channels as well, Bolt Sauce and Nolan. And I was happy to play that. That was very nice. Check that out. The Vihor right there. M91A eliminating all of those vehicles and all of those troops. Check that out, man. MVP. Killed a command unit, killed multiple Abrams times, what, 4 or 5, multiple Leo 2s as well towards the end. Panzer Grenadier squads eliminated. M84As not to be a real force to be reckoned with and not misunderstood or underestimated. M1 Abrams being eliminated there. Multiple units like that. Very nice. M84As, great. MVPs right here in the battlefield. And fun to play as an armored deck. Not a lot of players playing as the armored deck, but that's what we rolled as. And that was really good. So a couple of losses there, but not too bad. The best game I ever did, and it was against the AI because I'm a newbie. Still, even after all these years, I do not care. I still want to play Wargame. I love it. So if you've never played it before, check it out. If you're a veteran, keep playing, man. It's a ton of fun. A great round of applause to Eugen Systems and their team. You guys did it again. I really love it. Enjoy it. Tons of fun. So until next time, password Pimpan Strong, and stay tuned for more Finland coming next. Yugoslavia, here we saw their armored deck. We're going to do mechanized as Finland next. So again, if you're new here, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. Thanks for joining me. And until next time, that password and Pimpan, you keep them strong. I'll see you guys.